What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legions review and a brand new wave of figures. So we are pretty fresh off the Necronominus wave, but quickly behind that has come the All-Star 6 wave, which is a big extension of the Necronominus wave, plus a few reissues that are pretty sought after these days. So we're going to start with a skeleton because, I like skeletons. So we're going to take a look at THORASIS the First Risen first. He is one of the children of Necronominus, so he's kind of a major player when it comes to this particular wave. Now, he's still a standard figure. He comes in our normal Mythic Legion style packaging, so you got him there in the window, you got him in the bubble. We've got a faction logo on one spine, which of course is the Necronominus faction. We've got his bio and portrait on the other, and then the back of the box gives us cross-sell for the Necronominus wave. It's that same backer artwork card with a shot of Necronominus up there, and then our write-up as usual. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Mythic Legions All-Star 6, THORASIS the First Risen. A bit of a major player when it comes to this wave in terms of lore. He is a skeleton, so I'm already on board just by virtue of that. But he is one of the children of Necronominus. He is the former leader of the faction and is again the current leader of the faction. He takes the reins over from Morgulith now that they're all back in play. So he is a pivotal character in that regard, at least within the faction of Necronominus. So let's see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. He is not a lot of unfamiliar territory here. He's actually very familiar and very reminiscent of the Waltor figure from one of the Legions Con exclusives. What was that, 2 years ago? And he does incorporate some new stuff, but he's very thematically very similar to Waltor. We've got a head that is honestly pretty locked down. It can pretty much only do this. You've got a little tilt side to side, you've got rotation, but as you can see, he's a skeleton that somehow still has a beard, and beards always get in the way. They just do. Unless it's soft goods somehow or rooted hair, which I don't know that I want a rooted beard. It's always going to be a hindrance to articulation. Now, he does also feature a hinged jaw, so you do have that and kind of help things a little bit, but his head is, relatively speaking, kind of locked down. Not a surprise. Again, he's got a beard. Arms go out at the shoulders, and, if you'll notice, I've got all of his accoutrement on him at this point. He's got the pauldrons, he's got the cape, just to sort of showcase the whole 9 yards. The pauldrons, while not necessary for the cape, because it does have a chain, they do help to keep it in place quite a bit better. So arms go out at the shoulders. Of course, they swivel. The pauldrons are going to, they're going to start to get in the way eventually, but they're all right. We've got our single jointed, new style skeleton arms. So those have really good range on them. You've got a swivel at the elbow as usual. You've got swivel and hinge at the wrist. The torso, this is one of the areas where he's different from Waltor. Like, he's very similar in terms of the overall look and kind of the approach, but a lot of the parts are different. He has one of the newer style skeletal torsos. This is one similar to like the Terpiculi or even like Necronominus himself, where they have that armor bit that's actually in the guts. So it's not a full skeleton. It's not like the Skeleton Legion builder. It's that newer style, slightly armored build. But he still has a lot of good range. So forward really good. Tilt side to side is nice. That's your swivel point. He goes backwards some also. Legs on this guy go out. He has skeletal thighs. So, of course, that does mean while they can kick forward and out really, really good, they don't have a thigh twist. That doesn't exist because it's a bone. We've got our single jointed with really great range. The combination of this style of lower leg with the skeletal upper leg just offers really, really good range there. Like, I don't think it gets much better than that in Legions. You've got your twist there also, and then you've got rotation at the top of the ankle going up into the leg. You've got your hinge, and then you've got rocker down here at the ankle. So fairly standard, but in the sense that he is kind of standard for the new standard. He's very much like everything we got in the Necronominus wave, so he does feature a lot of that updated articulation, a lot of that updated range. The only real area of hindrance, unless you count the thighs, but that's a long-standing thing for Legions, is the fact that the head is limited because he's got such a long, flowing beard. Now, comparatively speaking, I think THORASIS has a lot more to offer. This is probably no surprise. A lot more to offer in the visual department, the parts usage, all that kind of stuff, compared to articulation. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here. He's like a faction leader kind of guy. He's a major player in the Necronominus faction, but he's not super gaudy or, ostentatious like, say, Gideon is for his faction. He's very dirty and grimy and broken and battered for the most part. You know, his greaves are still fairly new looking, but a lot of his armor and specifically his soft goods are really gunky and dirty. So we've got a similar setup that the knights in the Necronominus wave have. So Gideon, Elijah, where he's got the shirt piece that cinches around the waist, and then you've got the tabard pieces for the skirt to make it look like it's one flowing tabard from top to bottom. You've got a bunch of gunk and grime all over it. We've got wired skirt pieces down here to help add some dynamic posing to him and to get things out of the way. You've got holes and rips and tatters in the shirt so you can see all of his bones through there. This is removable, so if you wanted to take it off, you can, and then you've just got a bare bones chest underneath. It is, again, one of those torsos that has like the armor in the stomach region, so it's not a full skeletal torso. And then he is, again, very, very asymmetrical. So he's got a fully armored right arm, very, very silver gunmetal color, which matches the boots and the greaves really well. Again, he's very similar to Waltor in some ways. At least I find him to be. He's got a similar helmet. He's got similar-ish pauldrons, and just the idea behind him seems very similar. There's a lot of stuff that just kind of flows between the two for me. They're obviously very different still, but they look kind of close together. They look like they would belong together on a display. He does have the single bone arm. We've got the floating gauntlet bracer piece here, which, I'm still not a big fan of this kind of thing, but I like the idea. I understand why it floats, and of course, it gives it enough room to be put on a fleshy arm also. But if he was ever a flesh being, then once the flesh is gone, of course, that thing isn't going to fit right anymore. So it does work fairly well. It sells the idea that this is not necessarily meant to be on a skeleton and that it might have been on somebody else. He's got the flowing cape, which I think looks really good, the color, in comparison to the yellow and the greens within his overall color scheme. Not to mention, of course, it is a wired cape as per usual. I will kind of mention to maybe watch out for the cape. Not that there's any problem, but the chain here is maybe a little fragile. I actually broke one and I had to put it back together just by sort of putting everything together. It just sort of slipped apart. So watch out for it. He does have a fur collar piece attached to it. So this is a cape that has a chain that doesn't really sit around the throat. It still pegs through the pauldrons, but if you didn't want to do that, I suppose you could just use the chain as a way to cinch it on. And then, of course, he does have this, pretty gnarly head sculpt. So this is the same kind of helmet that Waltor has, very similar. So you've got, it's a little bit more unique than most. We don't see this kind of stuff on a lot of figures. So it's not some super gaudy, ostentatious thing, but it does have a decent amount of paint on it. There's a lot of hits on it from like the dots perspective and things like that. And then he does have, his skeletal head face in here with the movable jaw. Of course, the jaw is a little underutilized because of the beard getting in the way, but the beard does look cool. Like, I can't deny the fact that while it does sort of hinder articulation, obviously, it looks cool because it's goofy and ridiculous to think that, of course, this skeleton, for whatever reason, still has a beard hanging off of his, bone chin. Why not? It's a different world. Magic exists. I'm sure that's all we need to really sell the idea. But I think he looks really cool. I'm really happy with this figure, which when I got him out of the box, honestly, he didn't like blow me away or anything. There's a lot of very basic stuff about him, but the more I look at this, the more there's little things that I keep picking up, like how lustrous this set of armor is. His greaves and his right arm are super, super shiny with a lot of very bright silver accents. The color combination on the tabard and the cape works really well. I love the tattered and broken chainmail pauldrons that he's got there. And then again, I really like the beard. So there's a lot of different things here that I think people will kind of cue in on, and you can, of course, change him up quite easily by throwing a different skeletal arm on him or swapping in another armored arm to make him less asymmetrical. So, of course, if you're into swapping, there's a lot of different kind of parts in play here. Now, for accessories, THORASIS he's pretty loaded. There's a lot of stuff in here, a lot of varying things, body parts, weapons. Obviously, we've got the soft goods cape we've already talked about. We've got the pauldrons, stuff you don't have to use, but of course completes his look. This guy just has a bunch. This is definitely one of those figures that showcases exactly where we've come from when figures used to get like the same spear over and over again, to having, in many ways, some might say almost too much, because there's just a lot in this package. To start with, he doesn't come with an extra head, so we don't have that to go over, but he does have a lot of extra body parts. He comes with an inordinate number of hands, so he comes with skeletal fists on him in the box. You do get 2 sets of gripping hands. I've got one on him now. You've got a set of vertical and you've got a set of lateral gripping hands. And then you get a set of the style posy hands. So he has 8 total hands in this box. He also includes a set of skeletal feet. So if you don't want to have him with the boots on, you can change that. I don't know that I'm going to, but you can. He also includes extra foot pegs as well. So there are different sizes depending on what legs they're going into. So you've got the wider set and then you've got the slightly slimmer set. So you've got that to change up his look if you want to do that. We've got a extra little wrist gauntlet, so you can pop that bracer off of him, and you can put this one on instead. It's very different. It's just a circlet, but this will swap that out. It's still kind of free floating on him, but you've got the option. He does include one of the Zweihander swords, so one of the big 2-hander swords. This one I think goes back to like the advent of Decay Wave, but we don't see it too often these days. At least I don't remember seeing it too lately. I'm probably wrong, but this is done up in gold and silver. We do, of course, get a couple of belts and straps, and there's a lot of belts and straps in this wave. So you've got one of the thicker, newer style belts or straps, whatever you want to call it, with all of the painted detail on it. And then we also get one of the little tiny ones that also still has painted detail on it. So you've got those. Obviously, he is holding a few things, and this is the really cool stuff. So I posted on the Cabal jokingly about some of the stuff that he comes with, that he very much seems like he's come back from wherever these skeletons have been with a renewed sense of merchandising, because he has a handful of things that have his father's head on them, which a lot of the bad guys tend to do in this line, but it's never not funny to me. So the first thing that we've got is the big, let me pull it back, look, battle standard. So it's got the Necronominus faction logo on it. This flag piece is wired, so you can pose it and move it around, whatever you want to do. So you've got that. It is really, really big. Like, this thing is huge. It's much, much taller than the figure itself. So this is a separate piece. You thread this through this top part. These two will come apart. You could just use it as a long pike if you wanted. So it can be a weapon as well. If you want to have him with like a spear or something like that, or a lance, or pike, I think is the better word for it. But of course, the battle standard is a big aspect of it. It matches his cape. It's the same kind of fabric. But there's a lot of paint on this too. There's blacks and golds and then that sort of gunmetal-y color. So you've got that first piece of Necro merch. But the star of the show, of the entirety of this figure when it comes to accessories, is undoubtedly the faction shield. And I'm a big fan of these. They are a little gaudy and a little cumbersome to use sometimes because of how big they are, but they are some of the coolest accessories in the entire line to me. One of my only criticisms when it comes to this kind of thing is that I feel like at this point, a lot of these kind of shields have come with figures that people may not necessarily want to buy a lot of. Like, maybe someone doesn't want a bunch of THORASIS, but they want a bunch of this shield. This is the only way you can get it. So it doesn't come with like an army builder or anything like that. Unlike, say, the Xylernian Guard army builder that did come with one of these. So you've got, this thing right here, which is just insane. It's ridiculous. And I love how over the top these shields are. You can take this apart. So if you wanted to swap this around or use the base or the top relief part with a different color shield. So this top part will come apart. You do get the handle, and you also get the clip. The clip doesn't really work on the bone arm very well, so you might have to play around with that. It's small. Well, the arm is small rather, but the actual shield is really cool. The only negative I think I've got is that the actual Necronominus, the piece on it, is kind of a softer plastic, so this bone spike up here got warped in the box. I feel like it's probably going to be a pretty common thing, so I'll figure that out, heat it up and reshape it and cool it down real quick. Not a real big deal, but something just to mention. It does have just a whole bunch of stuff jutting out of it, though. All these bones, the mandibles. It's very much a recreation in most ways of Necronominus' head in general. And I just love the idea of these shields. They're ridiculous and over the top, but they're so cool and so different compared to almost all other accessories in this line. So he does come with a whole bunch of stuff, body parts, weapons, the shield, the standard, but he does come with one extra set of things that we don't see a lot anymore, and I'm not surprised they're in this wave because we do have a wing pack, but the back adapters are back. So for the uninitiated, these are something that came with figures almost every figure came with these for a very long time. They're not as common anymore. So you've got the two wing adapters here. One is for, you know, like the more modern wings. One is for the older style wings with a smaller peg. This is what that rectangular slot is on the figure's back. And then it's got this one as well, which is kind of an extender. Some people use it to hold shields, which works okay, but you also can use it to extend other stuff out a bit. But it's just funny to me to see these come back. I have like 8 billion of them at this point, so it's always funny when they pop back up. But he does have a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of cool accessories. Really can't top the shield, but there's a lot in general that you can use with him or across all your Bone Boys. So yeah, overall, really happy with this guy. THORASIS, you know, does get us closer to rounding out all of the children of Necronominus. Of course, Barodak is in the same wave, but I haven't gotten him yet. And this particular figure just has a lot of cool stuff going on. He's very similar to some of the more deluxe-ish style knights from the Necronominus wave, with his soft goods usage, the insane number of accessories this guy has. I mean, he basically has an entire hands pack. He's got the faction shield, which at this point, I think that might be my favorite faction shield so far. He's got the battle standard, all of this Necronominus merchandise that he comes with, and just a bunch of other awesome accessories that are beyond that. All of the normal stuff that you would expect to see with a figure is still present here. He's got a very unique look. He has a bunch of asymmetrical parts. He's got a really cool set of soft goods. Love the cape. Really like the tabard tunic idea that they're running with when it comes to the knights and things like that. And this guy, of course, is very similar to those Necronominus knights with their shirt piece. And in general, I think he's a really cool addition to the skeletons and to the children of Necronominus. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legions All-Star 6 THORASIS the First Risen. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.